Unpack your knives and stay. Yes, stay. Welcome, everybody, to another chaotic episode of the Top Chef RHAPup. But when isn't it? I'm Haley Strong, and I am here with my BFFs, LaTonya. Hi, LaTonya. What's up this week?
Hi. I'm kind of coming down from a bit of a high because I went to the Bryson Wynn event. And that was fun, and everyone is gorgeous all the time. And I met a couple of you, and that was really cool. So I think I'm having a good day, which is weird.
I love that for you.
Thanks.
It's like the collective you and not like the you on this podcast, like aka me, Haley Strong, and our other best friend, Curt Clark.
Mhm.
Hi, Curt. Your shirt is great. If you are not watching the YouTube video, pause the you know what? Don't pause the podcast. Keep listening to the podcast, but then also put the YouTube channel like on your phone or your desktop or laptop, and like see how great Curt's shirt is. Kurt's shirt.
Kurt's shirt. I wore this in honor of the chaos. I was trying to find the most chaotic shirt that I had.
And see, I look like I just came from a business meeting. Actually, this might be the nicest I've ever looked on a podcast, if we're being honest with each other.
That's not true.
You look like you're about to like go down to the river to baptize somebody.
I'm also like, I'm wearing jeans too. Like I really don't think I've ever worn jeans on a podcast.
I'm wearing pajama bottoms.
I can't wait to be wearing pajama bottoms.
So you think that Haley looks like a cult leader, Curt? Is that what you're saying?
Honestly, I almost actually went that route, but I decided I like the Sunday church revival by the river.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Fair. I was hoping I looked like Sally Phillips in the season 5 finale of Taskmaster, but like, if you think cult leader, I'll go with that.
I don't know who that is. I've never.
Well, that's a deep cut. Everyone should be watching Taskmaster.
I just started season 14, series 14, but
I love that for you. But we're not here to talk about Taskmaster. No. I talk about Taskmaster with Grace. We're here to talk about another episode of Top Chef. I have to say, ending notwithstanding, I think I used notwithstanding correctly. Or if we're like not looking at it results based, this I think was my favorite episode of the season so far. I think we're like, oh my God, you guys are both giving me a dirty look. Okay, here's my thing. It felt like we were finally like doing Top Chef challenges in like a way that feels right to me. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. We never disagree like this.
I will say, I feel like these were Top Chef challenges. In those like previous podcasts, we were like, what were they thinking of doing this as a challenge?
What do you mean?
Go ahead, LaTonya. I'll see where you fall.
I feel like if this is the best that you think that the season has been, then I question the season, I guess.
I thought the challenge was interesting. I get it that it was confusing for some people, but I don't think it's like that
confusing for everyone.
But I didn't.
None of the chefs got it.
I feel like we've had more confusing challenges in the past and more like just like be creative and do some fun shit.
I think there's been challenges in the past that where the rules have been complicated, but this was the first one where it was like working in marketing and working in advertising. It's our job to write creative. My role often will write the creative brief. It's like you have to be clear, concise, and your audience, your creative team has to know. Like walk out of the room and say, okay, we know exactly what we're going to do. And I think back to the times that Brooke Williamson's been on the podcast, and she's like, it's those things that are so broad, like pick a moment in your life that are harder. And this was like that, but like vague.
See, like I find like pick a moment in your life and cook about it is harder than this.
No, like the fact that one of the contestants, like the way that was it Amanda, the way that I think Amanda explained the elimination challenge to me did not line up at all with what the initial thing was, because she described it as fusion,
Right.
and I did not get fusion at all
which just goes to show that it's one of those things in I think chefing that no one really has a clear idea of what it is. It's just like, really, we know it. We feel like we know it, I should say, because we've seen The Bear. And I think that this is one of those things where, like, they tried to tie in two of the biggest things in food culture, and it just didn't go as I imagined that it would go. And it is beyond vague to say to create a chaos menu and then not even have your host be able to define what chaos menu means.
I guess that was a tough part, where it was like Kristen was like, I'm not totally sure here.
I've been in was it Maddie Matheson? Is that the chef's name?
Yes. Yeah.
First of all, I did not realize he was a chef. I know him from The Bear, so that's cool.
What? You don't know Niagara local chef?
No, I don't.
Maddie Matheson?
No. But like, he was like rambling. Like, I'm sorry, that was like the first.
That is his style.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Yeah, but I don't think, not appropriate for Top Chef. And the point, I literally, I don't often talk to the TV, but during the meal, when Tom said, "Yeah, but it's simple," and then he says, but it's the simplicity of the chaos, I literally looked at the TV and said, "Fuck you!" Like,
no, I promise, that dude is like so like genuinely nice and a sweet guy.
Oh,
like, but
it's not that. It's just that, and I am very excited for a type of like creating food as an art that is like up and coming and just starting to get a lot of recognition. I'm excited for that. What I'm not excited to see is everyone try to interpret that, because no one has a definition, a clear, succinct definition of what it is they're supposed to be doing. Yes. Like every other challenge, even if we hate it and it's a terrible challenge, at least Padma or Kristen knew what the rules were.
It was like,
you know what? Like, but I bet they like did get more rules like off camera, and maybe that's a disservice to the audience. But I'm sure they went in like they do on Survivor and say, "Okay, who has questions? Like these are your rules." Like I don't think they just went, "Have fun." Yeah. Like I really do think they got a lot more rules off camera in production than like we got to see.
I 100% believe that they did.
That makes sense.
But that doesn't allow me to judge along with the judges and I mean, it'd be like if David Blaine was the guest judge and he's like, "Your challenge is go," and like it's like he just projected it into your mind, and everybody.
But like, was like chaos cooking harder than like make a magic trick cooking that we saw in like Top Chef California?
Apparently,
there's a difference between, I think, difficulty and confusion. Like I think there's something like it's like I put a math problem in front of me. I might not be able to solve it, but I know that there's a solution. Whereas it'd be like putting a math problem in front of me and I do all the work, and then suddenly I'm docked a bunch of points because I didn't take the piece of paper and make an origami swan out of it, which I didn't know was part of the it's.
And see, I don't feel, you know what? Let's come back to it, because that is the elimination challenge.
Let's talk about
the Quickfire.
Partially,
and the entrance of.
I'm sorry, we cannot have gone 9 minutes without talking about the fact that Team Power Bottom opened the episode by doing a fun workout.
Let's bring this all back together in appreciation of the Power Bottoms.
When I said
pumping iron, you guys, Curt Clark texted us being like, "Girlies, like you gotta take a cold bath before coming on the podcast because I can't handle your thirstiness."
Are you gonna go into are you gonna come out of this first episode like being thirsty or something like that? And what were you? Neither of you had watched it at that point, had you?
No, I watched it today.
What were you expecting from
that? Exactly that. I was like, the Power Bottoms are gonna do something hot, and it was.
Yeah, I definitely thought it'd be the Power Bottoms power bottoming. That didn't happen, but we did get and there's gonna be a montage of them working out, and that was was very nice. I'm personally going through a lot, and I would like to thank Bravo and Top Chef for doing that for me. I feel like my cup is very full at this moment in watching this show. And you all are welcome because I am the reason that this happened.
You put it out of the universe.
We also get the return of
Kalina and her bag carrier.
And the bag carrier is Sue. Yeah, I feel bad for Sue.
Patty, we'll put it into the adult term.
I don't know why. I don't know why they didn't do like the kitchen introduction. Like it feels so rude to me to like have him just be like, "Hi." If Dan didn't know him, like it would have been such an unfortunate like moment.
But even then, they made Kalina introduce him and explain why he was there. That seems very like nonchalant.
I would have rather had like the official spiel of he battled from the beginning, like he beat everybody,
right?
And it sounds like just from some of the confessionals that was imparted to them. But I was hoping to see the like he beat everybody who came through Last Chance Kitchen except for David, but I can't remember his name, who was a no-show from the first episode. But the I was a little bit. I would have liked a little bit more fanfare and pomp and circumstance around his entry.
When do we ever have the re-entry for Last Chance Kitchen just loosen their apartment?
Yeah,
just like knock on the door because Kalina's key card doesn't work anymore. They have to let her in. Like she has to make sure to walk behind Laura every time she goes in the building now.
It's honestly incredibly representative of like how this whole thing is gone with them like duping us and not telling us anything about what was going to happen and there was a magical contestant. It feels very in keeping. If you're
this isn't just chaos episode, it's chaos season.
One of the things I was really looking forward to this going into this episode because like okay, we're gonna get the Kalina and Sue reveal, and it was like it was
especially for somebody who I'm so sorry I have not watched Last Chance Kitchen.
Right.
It was just so like if I didn't know what was going on, I would be so confused.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What was your not having watched LCK? What is your impression of Sue?
That he should be working out with the power bottoms. Because he is also in the boyfriend club.
Yeah. I mean, like ex-professional golfer, you know?
Golfer? Like
is
that a hot sport? I don't know, but it's not an unhot sport.
Exactly.
It's like they don't have CTE, I'll tell you that for free.
Exactly. It's definitely a sport and you're going to find attractive people in sports.
Golf pants are great.
They are. Yeah. He should be a part of the Tortured Poets department, but also I just feel bad for him because he's just like I know we'll talk about this later, but Tom was like, are you sure they're not just like completely telling you all of the lies about what you should be doing? And he was like, oh my God, I hadn't even thought of that. Like he's so precious that he wouldn't even think that someone would try to sabotage him.
Welcome to reality TV on Bravo, baby boy.
I was very glad that Dan knew him and like went up and gave him a like it was I guess I don't think Dan's listening to the podcast, but I saw at the very beginning of the season, I was like, he was the guy from Milwaukee. He was the guy who like knew everything about the city and was going to like remind everybody he's from Milwaukee. And he did it for like a couple episodes, but it didn't grate on me as much as I thought. The moment I found out his restaurant was called Dan Dan and it was like an Asian noodle place, I was like, okay, that's awesome. And his boyfriend's is Dan.
Dan is actually a plant from the Wisconsin Board of Tourism.
And I don't think you would be getting this, Haley, but LaTonya, have you been noticing like all the Wisconsin Cheese Board commercials in between?
Yeah. Have I noticed commercials about cheese all the time?
So I'm but it sounds like at least he's telling us that he's feeling very welcome, and
I'm loving Dan, and I'm also like, this is me, sneaky loving his hate on for Laura.
It's
Just
so
like
good.
so
It's so
sly
good.
and like, well, I guess she's in her own little world. I've only been calling for the dark chocolate for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, like
He's our shady queen of the season.
every time something happens with them, he's like, of course, this is what is going on with her right now.
But at the same time, it's like she's giving him fuel. I mean, that's the other thing. Like Laura is giving as much as Dan, and I'm loving it.
Our quickfire challenge: make a dairy-based dessert. Of course, we're in Wisconsin. They want us to know they do dairy. Kalina was in the top with her salted caramel and rum custard, rum caramel, mascarpone, creme fraiche whip. Manny was and Curt made this note, power bottom, with his fried churro and orange blossom and lemon whipped cream and strawberry compote. Amanda made a cheddar biscuit shortcake with banana pastry cream and vanilla chantilly. She was in the top with that. Rasika made a shirkand with saffron. Sue made a PB&J brioche puree brioche shards, peanut brittle, and a pasilla pepper blueberry jam. I will say, if I was in a fight, I would want my weapon to be brioche shards.
Yeah, that's my drag name, actually.
Oh, that's a good drag name.
Well done.
I think so. Michelle won with her corn cake with mascarpone cheese, basil cream, and lemon zest. Laura made a chocolate muhabeli with espresso whipped cream, butter crumble, and caramel. Danny made a cream puff with black sesame pastry cream. He was in the bottom with that. Savannah made the floating island, a creme anglaise with meringue, apple, and cranberry vinegar. Kevin made a shortbread cookie, strawberry and basil jam, cream cheese, vanilla chantilly, and butter tuile. And Dan was in the bottom with his dark chocolate pudding, macerated plums, basil, and a fried baguette. I kind of like when they do dessert challenges. It pushes them out of their comfort zone a little bit. I did think that the storyline with Danny was funny, where he was like, no, my wife is the best pastry chef in New York City. I cannot fail this challenge. And that's when I knew he was going to fail this challenge.
Yes. He's actually been over the last few episodes been, okay, this is episode 6. I think from like episode 3 on, I'm becoming a big Danny fan. I'm liking Dan and I'm liking Danny.
Danny seems like a great hang.
Yeah, exactly.
Like an all-time good hang.
Yeah. The Savannah's floating island. Correct me if I'm wrong. The floating island. Would I recognize that from Bake Off? I feel like that's something that they've made on Bake Off before.
Oh, interesting. Possibly. I can't remember that at this moment in time.
Okay. I don't believe, I think one of the episodes that I missed, was the cheese challenge. So that I'm glad that I got to be here for at least a dairy challenge.
A dairy challenge.
And I'm guessing this will not be the last dairy challenge that we face. There will be a twist on it. There might be an ice cream challenge. I did like Kristen's comment when they asked her what her favorite frozen custard was, and she said, "I can't. It'll start a war."
It's true. It will.
Although I'm guessing it's what was it, like Louis custard? The one that they showed a visual of one when they talked about frozen custard being the custard capital of the world or whatever. They showed looked like a chain of a custard place. I don't know. I wonder if that's Kristen's, but I don't know if I've had frozen custard. I think I guess Culver's. Do you have Culver's in Canada, Haley? The restaurant?
Not that I know of.
Oh, so good.
Are they the ones who do the the whale, the Fudgy the Whale?
No, that's. Oh, I know what you're thinking of. I think that might be called Culver's actually, but no, I think that's like an ice cream place. This is known for their butter burgers, and
Tell me what.
I think they put butter on their burger when they grill it.
Yes, they do.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we were eating a patty of butter.
No, but they I believe also have frozen custard there.
They do.
Carvel. That's Fudgy the Welt.
Yes.
It just came to mind.
I'm sure you understand my confusion in the matter.
Yeah, no, completely. The thing I like about Culver's is that they have a lot of like mix-ins for the shakes, and like they make me my blackberry peach milkshake.
Okay, that does
It
sound
makes
bomb.
me very happy. But anyway, I liked like Kristen's comment about the she can't say what her favorite one is, but yeah, we'll have some sort of dairy adjacent challenge again, I'm sure.
And then as soon as I saw Michelle's dessert, I was like, this is the one I would order. Like right away, I just had that I was so drawn to it. So I'm glad that she was the winner in this one. Made me wish she got immunity for it for this win.
Yeah, that would have been great. See, when that comes in handy, it really does come in handy.
Yeah.
And once again, I could not remember who won immunity last episode until they called out that it was Dan from his.
Dan didn't remember that he won immunity last.
Yeah.
Then I don't feel so bad. It would be nice if they if part of the normal announcements they said, and Dan, of course, you're going to have immunity or something like that. But yeah, I was and speaking of like it's name like menu, reading it on a menu alone, I would have gone for Dan's. I'm going through my stone fruit era right now, so the fact that
we love stone fruit era.
Yeah, so the dark chocolate pudding sounded really good. The macerated plums sounded like really tasty, like the fried baguettes. The basil, I've had like a crystallized basil sugar that I've made before, like with a mortar and pestle. So like basil and like dessert is very good. So I would have probably ordered his. Seeing that it was on the bottom does not give me great hope.
I was pretty drawn to this cheddar biscuit shortcake too with the banana pastry cream, like just to try it. And I like a salty and sweet, and I'm one of the like I just I would.
I would have hoped that the churro, if it went better, the idea of orange blossom and lemon whipped cream, strawberry compote with a churro, that sounds really good when it's done well.
I think his major flaw was only the fact that he put the whipped cream on it. Like he should have just left it on the side.
So you were all about mayonnaise churro?
Curt, this is a family podcast.
I already dropped the one F-bomb we're allowed to still maintain a PG-13 rating.
Did you really? I don't remember that.
Yeah.
I was just so not expecting that joke just then.
It's so unlike Curt. You know how we're doing a late night podcast, and that's that Curt is Curt After Dark.
I tried out my blue material.
Yeah, blue Curt.
Blue Curt. Which one would you have tried, LaTonya?
I mean, I would have tried Michelle's. But that's just because it's really hard to make a cake look that moist, like have it translate like that through the screen. You could just tell that wasn't like, maybe it's because she didn't have a ton of time to make the cake. You could just tell it wasn't going to be dry, and everything else sounded really great along with it. Did this make me worry after she won this? I was like, oh no. But we get nothing anymore in terms of immunity, so it doesn't really matter, does it?
That's you were scared for her last week too, I believe.
I was, yeah.
I think now, you're just gonna have PTSD from it, and you're going to live in constant fear for Michelle.
Yep, probably. And I was so high on Rossica last week too, so I know we'll get to it, but it's just it's been hard. It's been very difficult times.
And not just last week. Like she's had a good run. Like this was a bad week for Rossica.
Yeah.
But immunity wouldn't have saved her. So
Then let's get into it. The elimination challenge. So we see Maddie Matheson come out. He is.
One more quick note.
Yeah. Yes,
Sorry,
of course.
the I can't remember her name, but the Milk Bar judge from the. Have you guys been to Milk Bar before?
No.
I've been to one in Toronto, so I know they're in Canada.
I think that one just closed, if I'm being honest with you.
Well, I went there. It was at a RHAP event, and anybody in the community who's gone to live events and has heard tales of Curt's pocket cookies. Those cookies are gotten from the Milk Bar. But also is
that different than Manny's churro?
Sorry, what?
My pocket cookies.
Pocket cookies.
Pocket cookies. It's a whole thing.
It shouldn't be though. Let's just put that out there.
It is better than pocket ice cream. I'll give you that.
That is true. There's also in the Cosmopolitan Resort in Vegas. There's a David Chang has a Momofuku restaurant in there, and it's right next to Milk Bar, and they're kind of packaged together called like Momofuku Milk Bar. But they're known for like their breakfast cereal milkshakes, where like it's made with milk that's like had been soaked in breakfast cereal, so it kind of tastes like the milkshakes taste like breakfast cereal. There's not actually even like chunks in it, and they've got amazing cakes. You get boozy milkshakes. So
Christina Tossi, is that her name?
Yes, thank you. So I was like, oh, I recognized her.
She also just seemed like a really cool judge to have as well. Like very fair, but like chill and could have a laugh with you.
Yeah. So sorry, I wanted to give a shout out to Milk Bar. Please sponsor us. Elimination challenge.
Preach. Elimination challenge. So we bring out Maddie Matheson, who is a celebrity chef and actor on The Bear. He's a local guy to here. And speaking of eating their food, I have had the chance to eat at a couple of Maddie Matheson's restaurants during COVID. He had a pop-up down the road. That was like a meat plus 3 restaurant. It was incredible. And he recently opened up Rizzo's House of Parm in Crystal Beach, Ontario. And it's genuinely some of the like best restaurant food I've ever had. It's like a red sauce Italian place, it's like a New Jersey Italian. He's done like a great job there, and he's really cares about his community, which is really lovely and fun, even though he's kind of risen up through the rankings and everything to still kind of come back to Niagara. And like people travel from all over to come to this restaurant. You cannot get a reservation even like a year and a bit after the restaurant's open. He's like a very nice guy too, so that is lovely to see him like doing well and being on Top Chef. He was definitely, if you can believe it, very subdued on Top Chef.
Yeah, you could tell. You could very much tell that he was like very excited to be there and like reverent of the space, but also just like, this is my week to talk about what the challenge is going to be. So here's what I like to do and what I represent. It was really great to see. As like someone who's a big fan of The Bear, I love Maddie Matheson. I love him as Fac. And he's apparently just like that IRL. So
one time I was picking up an order from the Meat Plus 3 restaurant, and he saw the bag with my name on it, and he said, "Keep strong." So like he was very nice.
Oh my
God, Maddie! I was like, "Thanks, Maddie."
I would love to eat at any of his establishments. I feel like working for him would be a complete nightmare.
Honestly, his staff seems to like really adore him.
For me, and like
it's a lot of chaos.
Yeah. My style, like, no.
We're learning so much about Curt tonight. I just want to put that out there. This is great.
Our elimination challenge is create a dish that exemplifies chaos cuisine. And yeah, I do think they got a lot more details than we were privy to, because it was kind of slid in like, we get to shop at other stores than Whole Foods. Woo, specialty shops. Woo, woo, woo. And I was like, oh, okay, great. Like, let's have fun here. Tell me more about your feelings.
Were it not for one well-placed worker, Kevin was going to buy cocoa butter to cook with. And I just like, come on.
Well, chaos.
Sorry, that's so funny to me. Like, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
is that dark cocoa butter or milk cocoa butter?
And then I loved how excited Amanda was about this challenge as well, because she was like, "This is exactly what I like to do." And it was really cute for her to just be like going through the aisle. She and Dan were like making up little songs that they were singing while going down the aisle
together. I am desperate for a team challenge where they're paired again. Were they paired in the last one? And
I feel like they've been paired together before.
I need them together more.
Were they together for the Frank Lloyd Wright one?
That feels right, but I don't know.
But they did well together.
I remember.
Yeah.
I did like the little bit of the nod to D&D, how she said she's chaotic neutral.
Yes.
But
then talked about the Pokemon song, which just melted my heart.
and I'm lawful neutral, so I think that's why this challenge does not speak to me.
Oh, what am I? What do you think I am?
I think you're neutral.
I think I'm chaotic good.
I was gonna say neutral good, but yeah.
What do y'all think I am?
I think you are. I think you are. I think you're. You might. I think you. You might be lawful good.
With the most love in my heart, the most chaotic one.
I could see. I feel like you're both either like neutral good, leaning potentially one. Haley may be a little bit more chaotic. You might be a little bit more lawful.
Huh. That's interesting.
What would you say you are?
Lawful neutral.
No. What would LaTonya say she is? I'm so sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, something chaotic. I'm not sure.
Right.
Who knows what's ever going on.
I tried to type in to find the chart, and I just typed in chaos, and it came up with chaos theory, but that's like physics, and I'm not dealing with that. Chaos chart. There we go. I got it.
Yeah, you're either lawful.
Yeah, no. I think
chaotic.
LaTonya and I are both chaotic good.
Okay.
Yeah. That sounds right. I try to be good.
So you're chaotic neutral. Anyway, yeah, I thought I'm guessing that, especially because from the specialty shop perspective, it very much seems, and I think this has to be the reality of the logistics, is that they're probably given, here's a list of 5, and at least 2 of you have to go to each one, or one. We can't have any solo people, so figure out which ones you're going to go to. This from a filming perspective.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they none of them were going to be able to go, I'm going to go to the, M&M world, but, yeah.
Maybe someone should have gone to the M&M world. You know what I mean? Like, I like my chaos to be less predictable.
Total wine and more, please.
I will say that I don't think like anyone was fully docked points for not having like a chaos dish. Like I genuinely think Michelle and Rasika were in the bottom because they had the worst dishes. But I do think you were more likely to be bumped up into the top if they had one of those dishes that kind of fit within the theme a little bit better. But for the most part, reading these, I feel like everyone had maybe not a perfect handle on it, but like a good enough handle on it.
I don't. I just like looking at the commentary, like the first couple people out, Laura and Amanda, like there was like nothing chaotic about their dishes. It wasn't until Sue and Manny came out, they're like, okay, now we're getting somewhere. And even then, Sue was like plating his dish, and he was like getting upset that his green dots had to be a schmear because they were like getting all messy and stuff. I'm like, no, You want that messiness, like those perfect little red circles of the salsa roja or whatever. Mess those up too. It wasn't like, so I was like, I still don't think that, I think because so many people missed the mark that they had to go based on like 90% taste, 10%.
I think they were always going to go with that. I think this was a good opportunity to push the chefs out of their comfort zone because they have been way too in their comfort zone this season. And I think maybe that's why I liked it, because it forced them to it almost gave them a chance to make up for how boring they were in the Frank Lloyd Wright challenge. I don't know.
Yeah.
I liked the challenge, and I will stand by that.
When I saw that there was going to be like a chaos challenge, my mind went back to the Chicago Improv season.
That was way worse than this. That was way worse.
No. Here's the thing. It's a lot more difficult to paint on a canvas where you don't know where the boundaries are.
Yeah, but when the boundaries are dumb as hell, that's worse to me.
It gives you
that's worse. Orange wiener. I don't care.
Give me orange wiener and I can make you a fantastic dish. I see that. No, that gives you a frame and a reference.
That's
point.
Dumber. That's too dumb. I like this.
We can
welcome to the most contentious podcast ever.
I'm shocked. This is never.
We can let Haley be happy about the fact that she liked this episode.
Let me be happy.
She's a little wrong, but she let her be happy about it.
I will end this podcast. I have the power.
I support women's rights and women's wrongs.
I can and will mute you. I'm not going to because I believe in free speech.
The children are the future.
What do you think of Tournament of Champions? Your boy, Guy Fieri, randomly picks 5 elements that have to be combined. It's exactly the same thing as the Chicago.
How dare you try and sully the good name of Guy Fieri on this podcast?
Yeah, I don't know what you were doing there, Curt.
I'm saying that somebody that you love and respect basically has a show that's run several seasons that is completely the same as the Chicago Improv Challenge. Swedish food.
Laura made tajin yuzu koshu sauce with quail eggs, salmon, and seaweed salad. Amanda stood alongside her and presented her black pepper pappardelle with cumin, lamb, ragu, XO sauce, celery leaf, and shrimp chips. I have to agree with the judges that Laura's was too pretty. She's here's my chaos cooking. I molded it. It was horrible.
In this episode did they say throw it against the ceiling?
Well, I also love their demo video of just a hot dog throwing it up in the air and then coming back down and more sauce and flipping the hot dog over and then flipping it over again. I was like, what is happening?
Okay, I'm bookmarking something to bring up, but continue.
Amanda's dish
just verbally bookmark something?
I do that all the time.
Okay.
Amanda's dish also, didn't quite get it. I get where she was going, but it was pretty regular. I love her so much, and this sounds amazing.
But you don't understand. She was going to use black pepper.
That's spicy for us.
Yeah, folk. Exactly. I would eat that food in a second.
My favorite point in them tasting Amanda's dish was, you can really taste the celery.
Okay, I want that as one of our t-shirt lines. You can really taste the celery.
Can I also just say that before we move on, I think that it's probably a crime in some states to allow somebody like Sophie Rowe to be at the same table as our normal guests, our normal hosts. Everyone's just too attractive. And everyone just
They
needs
are.
to dial it down a little bit.
I also thought the tablescape this episode was exceptionally beautiful.
Yes.
And it just like really added to the beauty of everyone.
It was gorgeous.
It was really gorgeous.
And this was in the like the same studio area as the Top Chef kitchen, right?
I believe so, and I liked that.
Yeah, I thought that was cute.
We've had too much of like set up a fire in the field, folks. Have fun.
Or
what do you mean this is bad food? It's 95 degrees and you're cooking with cheese. Like, of course it's bad. This was better. Like air conditioning, yay, everyone. Like,
but I mean, I did like there was that one elimination challenge where they actually served them in the Top Chef kitchen.
Me too. I love that shit, man. I love a short walk.
Yeah.
Sue, who's quite possibly the love of my life.
Yeah.
He was chaotic in just coming up with his dish. He didn't know what it was going to be, and then it was going to be General Sue's chicken. Hilarious, great work. He changed it to something even better, which was General Sue's shrimp with salsa verde and salsa roja.
Mm-hmm.
And he also had like some cool crispy bits on the shrimp. Ooh boy, do I love shrimp, and ooh boy, would I love this.
And 2 different sauces to dip it. Like this sounds so wonderful, and it's like poppables. You know, you can just keep popping those babies.
Like that's like the little corn cakes, like the corn chips.
No, like the shrimp.
Wait, what are we saying? Poppables?
Yes,
that's a thing. Okay, let me Google that. Poppables shrimp.
Oh, I don't know if poppable shrimp is a thing. I'm just saying poppables is. They're chips.
Okay.
Sorry. The point is that you're supposed to
I can pop them. Yeah. They are poppable.
They're poppable. That's it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Betting you $30 that the algorithm that plays his ads is going to take that pause.
No. Curt Clark, behind the scenes, I write down the time.
Okay.
Of when they should add a break. So you're welcome. And Manny came out with them and made esquites risotto with burnt tortilla aioli. And they were kind of like, yeah, he gets it too. We're working well. Kevin comes out with mashed sweet potato with raspberry tarragon and white chocolate.
Adams.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
Reading this description, it is unhinged.
Yes, that's true.
This is the one time in the 12 seasons that I've been covering Top Chef where I changed the description, because the description that was on the screen just says potato with raspberry. But in the voiceover, it said mashed sweet potato. And I thought that was painted a very different word picture.
Yeah.
So I made sure that it wasn't like just a bunch of Idaho russets, that were used. I mean, this was like, I think you have 2 very different experiences if you have like a regular potato or a sweet potato. So I wanted to make sure that was called out.
Michelle made a Vietnamese shrimp and pork arrays with puffed rice and herb salad. I will say that this was like one of the ones where it was just like, I ordered a sandwich and a salad at a restaurant. Mm-hmm. I love you, Michelle. Please know. I do love you.
This the one that like Kristen's was raw
uncooked,
and Tom's was cooked.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate. Doesn't she also have like a sandwich restaurant?
I think she does.
So this probably came to her. I was worried for her the whole episode because when Sue came along and then like 2 people came back, she was freaking out. So I didn't know how that would affect her cooking. Just the idea floating around everybody's heads also that we could just remove 2 of you whenever we want.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. We didn't talk about that so much. We brought back 2 people. I'm like, yeah, but you just eliminated 2 people a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Dan made what I personally thought was the coolest dish of the episode. He made a okonomiyaki, a funnel cake with seafood, bacon, pickles, caviar, and herbs. sounds
The
insane.
description just kept going.
No, and like
Yeah.
I feel like you edited this one too to be like less insane because it was just like and this. He just kept like
It was
dunking
18 things.
Well, this
Yeah.
I only capture what's written on the screen,
Yeah.
and so you're right. I should have gone back and did more of a verbal transcription of what he was saying, because that. And
No,
then when
there
he was,
would not have been room in the document.
There's no room.
yeah,
Yeah.
This I thought had a very good chance of being in the top or winning, purely from a chaos perspective, because it looked like some random nacho funnel cake fusion thing. This is like one that I wanted to try.
Yeah, the fact that Tom said all the seafood was cooked perfectly, just made me want to have that even more. So, like always, funnel cake. Like, if you're ever in a situation where funnel cake could be had, you get that damn funnel cake.
Would you rank that as like your number one fair dessert?
I thought you were going to say carnival food, but
that's what I mean. That is what I mean.
Carnival like the same thing.
It's so late at night. I don't know what anything's called anymore.
I would say it's top 3. I like a corn dog.
Me too. But that's not a dessert.
Oh,
did I say dessert?
I thought so.
I thought maybe I did.
No, you said, because you said. Oh, maybe you said dessert fair, and I said carnival food.
I said dessert, but I genuinely don't remember.
We're all tired.
From a main course, I go for the corn dog. But from a dessert perspective, powdered sugar.
Yeah.
Just powdered sugar?
Yeah, I think so.
You can get whatever you want on a funnel cake, you know?
Apparently.
They're inclusive.
I think like I would go scoop of vanilla ice cream, strawberry sauce, but it has to have the real strawberries in it, and then powdered sugar.
The moment you put that in there, and I could be wrong, feel free to push back on this, it turns into a utensil food. You put
utensil food.
I don't like my hands getting dirty. All foods are utensil foods for me.
I would argue that powdered sugar all over your little fingers is not dirty. It's delicious.
Okay, hear me out. I don't like the feeling. It feels sticky, and I don't like it.
Well, that's why. That's why I don't.
I don't like it.
You would definitely be using a utensil though, because that's what you got on. You know, but you can get just the powdered sugar. I would get
a nice
I would probably get vanilla ice cream, chocolate syrup, and then powdered sugar. And that would be it.
So for me, the ice cream would melt and cool the warm dough too quickly.
That's what I want. It's too hot.
I don't want that.
It's too hot. It's too sticky.
Powdered sugar, tear it apart like a velociraptor going after a stegosaurus.
I don't want to touch it. It's too hot for my little fingers. I'm so delicate.
Cotton candy.
You really are one of Taylor's strongest soldiers, aren't you?
Is it cool that I said all that?
Cotton candy's at the bottom of the carnival desserts.
Cotton candy, sweet as gold. Let me see your Tootsie Roll.
No. Snow cones, Hawaiian ice, shaved ice is like in the middle, maybe somewhere. Anyway.
I love the shaved ice. That's another thing I would get all the time if I could. Can we just go to a carnival together?
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Curt, does Michigan have like a state fair?
I'm sure they do. Actually, yeah, I know that they do.
I'm sure they do.
Because in college, when I was interning at a Fox News affiliate, I had to dress up as a Red Power Ranger at the Michigan State Fair.
Wow. Picture it didn't happen, my friend.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to post those on Instagram, or I won't believe you.
This was pre-digital media.
Oh no!
But it wasn't before media.
It wasn't before media. No, because
were you in the school newspaper?
No. This wasn't it at all affiliated with the university.
Cool.
So, what did Rosika make?
She made a crab and eggplant with a mushroom conserva, dukkha, and garlic tahini. And I felt like she understood what
Oh
the
my
look of the challenge
gosh.
was supposed to be. But everyone around the table, my heart broke when they're like, "This has no flavor."
I know. And
Yeah, and it's
how did that
slimy.
happen?
Like, she sous vide it. Like, why would you do that?
But even then, you could dump a bunch of spice on it.
I don't know.
I felt really bad for her.
Me too.
In this moment, because it seemed like she had so much hope in the dish, you know.
Yeah.
And she had done so well in the competition before. It's just one of those things where people are in and out of your reality life in a second, and it really does hurt sometimes.
Yeah, and it's she's like a perfect example of like Top Chef truly is a like what have you done for me lately competition. It's like your last plate doesn't matter. It's this plate.
On the upside, I think she stands a good chance of coming back from Last Chance Kitchen.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
Kalina made a trash burrito egg gnolati with ancho chili and morita crema. This sounds really cool.
Yeah, we'll try this.
Savannah made our dessert of the episode. She made a potato souffle with golden milk, tropical fruit, and like a pureed mustard greens. And the judges really raved about this. So she was in the top with this dish. I'm happy for her. Savannah really seems to be like coming into her own, which is really fun to see.
What did you think of the whole like redemption arc for this dish? Like this is something she apparently had made on FaceTime for Maddie. And she's like, I'm going to do it again. And I'm going to do it right. Because I guess he told her that don't never do that or something.
Something like that happened.
With you, I don't remember that part.
Yeah, something like that happened. So it was like a redemption story for her.
Yeah. The initial kitchen walkthrough, she said, actually, we've met before. Like she worked for somebody that he knew, and she made this dessert that included mustard greens, or like she was talking about it, and he was like, you know, that's just a horrible idea. And so she wanted to use this as an opportunity to show what better challenge than the chaos challenge to show that no, this is actually this can work.
Yeah. I will say that I would like for Maddie Matheson and Tom to always be together and talking shit about the other chefs. Like that's something that I really did enjoy about this episode is when they just go off to the side after they were talking about one of the dishes and Maddie Matheson goes, "It's not chaos, it's just a fond memory."
You know what? Those can overlap. That's
so, you know,
I love that.
Right.
Danny won with his scallop choux farci with yuzu koshu foam. I would say I wasn't like particularly intrigued by A, the description of this dish, B, the look of this dish, but I am so happy for Danny.
Accessing bookmark from earlier. So what was up with that weird dream sequence flashback?
I don't know. You know what? In that moment, I knew Danny was winning this challenge.
I knew something. I knew that he was going to be at one of the two extremes.
They call that production value, Mary. That's what they call that.
They had a little extra budget this episode since they shopped at the specialty stores instead of Whole Foods. They had like an extra $20 per person.
So they bought some gauze and shot like some like stock footage through it. And it was just weird. That little dream sequence where he's just like,
it was high art.
Like he even had his eyes closed and his voice was like the monologue, and then suddenly like the montage stops and boop, his eyes open and he knows what he's going to do. It was just so bizarre.
I'd say we need a montage all the time, or else what are we doing? This podcast should just be a montage of previous podcasts.
We don't have the technical skill to make that.
I had zero issue with like do all the crazy cinematography filming you want to. Just do challenges that make some freaking sense.
I mean, I got it, but whatever. We only have a bottom two. We have a top 4, but we only have a bottom 2.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not well after seeing it was Michelle and Rasika in the bottom. I was like, I don't know which one I'd rather leave because the answer is neither. We did lose Rasika here. I'm really sad. Like we said, though, I think she has a pretty good chance at coming back from Last Chance Kitchen. It was really just like a one bad dish kind of day. Michelle lives to fight another day, and I'm happy about that because I do think she still has so much room for growth and like really we've seen a lot of great things from Michelle, but I think she almost hasn't even hit her stride yet.
Yes. She also seems like one of those people who responds well to pressure. So as things start to get more and more pressureful, then I think she'll step up to the plate and see, I think a lot of what's also been happening with this journey with her is that she has been discovering all these new things about herself as a chef. So it's probably pretty heady in experience. Yeah. But I'm excited, really looking forward to what she's going to do in the future. And Rasika, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that you had to go because I too like eggplant and I also like crab. So I don't understand why they weren't good together.
I feel like they're too texturally similar.
Could be. I normally don't do this, but this one I was predicting as dishes were being presented, as they were receiving commentary, whether someone was going to be like top, bottom, or neither. And going into Danny, I had 3 people listed as top. I had Sue, I had Dan, I had Savannah. And then Danny went, and I was like, oh, crap. Who am I? And I think I ended up dropping Sue. But it was really hard. And I had Laura, I think, as a third potential person on the bottom. So when they actually had top 4 and a bottom 2, I was like, this makes, with like what I was seeing based on their notes, that actually made sense. But it definitely threw me. Just like it was I think one of the weeks we were gone, Haley, where they were saying like, we don't even like need to bring them all back in here. Like let's not put everybody through it. Like we know it's clear who's on the bottom here. I think that was the Frank Lloyd Wright one. But like let's just cut to the chase and send Kalina and Alicia out. But yeah, it's and let's not forget. Maybe we'll remind each other. I'll text you guys next Thursday. Don't forget, Danny has immunity because the show isn't going to remind us until like well into it.
Just keeps bopping between Dan's and Danny's.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Any update from Last Chance Kitchen this week?
No. Nope. It's just Rasika's there, and so I think we'll have an episode next week.
Great. Well, Johnny, what did you eat this week? / what have you placed an order for dinner right after this podcast?
I tried a new soul food place called Soul Food Every Day. And I got some oxtails with mac and cheese and sweet potatoes. I also tried their cornbread, which I thought was good. And it was really, really delicious food. Like I had not, like I said, eaten there before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. And now I think they're going to be my go-to place for soul food stuff now. Their hours are a little bit wonky. Like they're not open on Mondays and they close at like 7 p.m.
There's like this like epidemic of places not being open on Mondays.
That sounds like every restaurant in my hometown for the last 25 years. I cannot get anything except Pizza Hut on Mondays here.
It's so common here in West Michigan. In London, there were like so many places that were closed on Mondays. It's unacceptable.
Yeah.
How dare the restaurant workers get a day off?
That's what shifts are for.
Wow. Okay. So Kurt's not going to be fighting in the revolution. Then I got this restaurant called Strings Ramen Shop.
Oh, the one on Belmont?
I know there is one on Belmont, but this one is on Archer.
Okay.
But they have a chain. They're a chain. I got this thing where it was like pork belly, but on like a rice bowl. And I always get extra like lava eggs because they're so good. Like I don't eat a lot of eggs, but I will eat like a lava egg.
What's a lava egg? I'll ask.
Oh, so just like the way that they make eggs at like the temperature and like length that they cook them.
Like a soft boiled egg almost?
Like a soft boiled egg. Yeah.
Because this is a place where you can choose like the 5 levels of heat. And I think if you get the top level, it's like you get a certificate.
I'm not going to be getting that certificate.
No, I went to like level 2 and it was like could not finish it. But I've gotten ramen from there many times. It's a good place.
It's really good. And then finally, I'm going to shout out something that I got. I got some groceries in last week, and I bought this pasta that was like it was like a sweet sausage with like a little bit of spice to it as well, and it was in like orchette, and it was just like really, really good pasta. But I like covered it with these cherry tomatoes and then put Swiss cheese on top of that, and then put that in the microwave. And so you get like, like bursting cherry tomatoes with your pasta. And it's like it was really, really good. It's this devour like meal thing that I really enjoyed, like as much as anything that I had really ordered all week. So I will save what I'm getting for dinner for next week, so I can have some fodder, because next week might be boring for me.
Kurt, what did you snack on?
This has been a really boring week for me. And I don't know if part of it is like now that I'm back in the workforce again, I get done at the end of I just don't feel like doing anything. And that includes, it's weird. Like I'm like going into being tired at the end of the day, but I'm also coming out of like this period where I was like being extremely, extremely, extremely frugal. So it's been like a lot of like, I'm just going to have a turkey and Swiss cheese sandwich. And that's been like a lot of my meals. I had a meal kit arrive last week that I forgot to cancel, so I didn't get to pick the meals. And I've made 2. It arrived last Wednesday. I just made the second meal tonight. Like I've not had any desire to cook. And the 2 meals I've made now out of this meal kit were extremely uninspiring. And I'm not looking forward to making the last one. But the only successes I can recall are there's a Vietnamese market. I think it's just a kind of just more of a Pan-Asian market, but within it, there's a Vietnamese sandwich shop where I got a banh mi sandwich for lunch.
Good sandwich.
Love me a banh mi sandwich. And then one of the things that I've picked up at the store was these frozen stuffed bagels from a company called Bros Indo. And it's like this huge bagel that's stuffed, and it's literally like it has to be in the microwave. There's no even tempting you to preheat the oven to 350 and cook it for 22 minutes. It's like nuke it for 2 minutes and it's done. You don't have to like let it sit for a minute, no 80% power. It's like the most simple thing. But there's like I've had their jalapeno cheddar stuffed bagel, and then there's been a bacon and cheddar stuffed bagel, and then an apple cinnamon stuffed bagel. And I got all 3, and they're all tasty. And I went to their website for the first time ever. I'm like, oh, I'm only scratching the tip of the stuffed bagel iceberg. I need to go to a bigger supermarket that has more variety. So that's what I got for you this week. Hopefully, I'm meeting a friend for dinner over the weekend. Don't know what yet where we're gonna go, but hopefully I will have better food adventures for next week. How about you, Haley?
I have yet to do a deep dive on the things I ate on my trip to Costa Rica, so let me do that now.
Yay!
The food was genuinely incredible. Like, I had some of the best food I've ever had there. I would say the prices are pretty similar to here. Like, you're not gonna get many cheap eats, and that's totally fine. But don't go there expecting like 25-cent tacos or anything like that. We had a couple of what are called casados. Like, it's just like it's a lunch plate, so it comes with like a piece of meat and rice and beans and a little salad and some veg. We got a couple chicken ones, and they were really fantastic, just like super simple, easy for us to share, a great lunch. We had something called a chifrio, which is like a fried pork with beans, and the one we had came on rice with like a mango salsa. That was really incredible. I had the best huevos rancheros I've ever had there. Lots of great, like fish taco, like the best fish taco I've ever had. Some great soups, some great empanadas, and like the ones I had there, like they had more of like a corn dough than just like a flour dough, which was so tasty. I had a really fantastic ceviche. I had a pineapple jam stuffed empanada, which is just like so up my alley. We went to this one place that had really crazy smoothie bowls, and the smoothie bowls were good, but it took half an hour to like get, which is like fine, whatever, not a big deal. But it was
the line, or because like
there was
time?
I think it was the prep time, because there was only like 3 people ahead of us to like wait for their smoothie bowls.
Lack of just urgency on the part of the.
I think they had one blender.
Oh, okay.
Like, so they just had to like keep washing it over and over.
Yeah.
But the smoothie bowls were so huge that like we could have shared one and had it like 4 meals out of it completely. And then we went to this other restaurant where Ethan has this like issue where his eyes are so much bigger than his stomach. And he saw this thing on the menu at this one restaurant, and he was convinced he was going to get it for himself. And it literally says on the menu, like, this is a share plate. Like, please don't be stupid. Didn't actually like say quite like that. But it was like half a rack of ribs, like half a chicken, like baked beans, like fried plantains. I was like, dude, no, this is for 2 people. Like, we'll share it. And he said, okay, great. We have to get an appetizer. I said, okay, fine. Let's get the agua chile with shrimp. It was the hottest effing dish I've ever had in my entire life.
Oh my gosh.
It was so good, but it was so spicy. Like, we both were like, we've made a huge mistake. And like, we ordered it, and then a different server brought it to our table and was like, do you know how spicy this is going to be? And we were like, what? What do you mean? He's like, this is spicy. And we're like, okay. It was very spicy. But the food was good. We had lots of great tacos, and we stayed at a resort for like the end of our trip. And you know what? I can't help but to love a resort buffet. Like, I'm sorry, I'm basic. I love a resort buffet.
Yeah, same.
And it was honestly some really excellent food. And then we've actually like done some good food cooking in the last couple of weeks, like shockingly with how uninspired I have been, and just like how like mentally drained I have been. Like, the idea of having to think of what to make for dinner is just like haunting me on a daily basis. So a couple of weeks ago, Ethan made like what was that? Like a General Tso's chicken.
General Tso.
Yes, we got the sauce literally just from Trader Joe's. And he did like a cornflake like coating on it. It was really delicious. I didn't think it was gonna work, and it did. I made a really lovely lemon marinated like shrimp pasta salad that was great. Like a buffalo chicken salad, had a great beef skewer recently, like a chicken finger sub, which is like
You've been eating well.
you know what? Really, we have. I cannot complain. Ethan got like real crazy this weekend and was like, he woke up on Sunday morning and he's like, today's the day. And he said, for what? And he said, I'm gonna make cheese. He made his own mozzarella cheese.
Wow.
It was really good. It was like fairly simple. So we had like a caprese
Nara Smith
chicken
makes
salad.
me believe that's possible.
It was like pretty decently easy. I'm not gonna do it because there's a lot of liquid and I would spill it, and I don't have any interest in that.
And you get your fingers all messy.
And my fingers be so messy. I would hate it. One time I made butter and it like I hated every second of it. Like I understand why butter is so expensive because it's so annoying. My hands were so greasy. I wanted to die. And then last night for dinner, I was just like, we have to go get groceries, but it was just like there was no point in going. So out of Molly Baz's cookbook, Cook This Book, I did like a riff on her. I think it's like spiced chickpeas and poached eggs, but I obviously fried the eggs. So I don't want to poach an egg. Like, please don't make me. And I used like the recipe calls for like a can of crushed tomatoes. Didn't have it. Used a jar of tomato sauce. YOLO. But it was like a really delicious little meal. I enjoyed it a lot. I would make it again, maybe, I don't know, even according to the recipe. But yeah, like I have been eating well this week. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to anyone.
What's wrong with that?
I feel bad.
That's
I feel
great.
bad.
And you just reminded me that like the one recipe I have left in this freaking meal kit requires an egg. I don't do eggs a whole lot. I have no eggs in my fridge. And I'm like, and it's like hit or miss on whether I can get like this, like the 6-pack carton of eggs versus the whole 12.
Hear me out. Does your mom still live nearby? Like, can you drive to her house and be like, Mother, please, one egg?
30 minutes away. It was funny. I went there yesterday and I was going to make dinner, but I called her at 4 o'clock and I'm like, can we just, pick up a sandwich or something? Like, I'll still come there. We'll still have dinner. I just don't feel like cooking. She's like, I know what that's like. And so I was thinking, no, but she didn't have eggs either. And she was going to go shopping and she didn't get to go shopping. So no, she doesn't.
Oh, that's so funny. All right. Well, then there we go.
All I've got are those soft boiled eggs. So that wouldn't be helpful.
It's like a chicken francese dish, I think is the thing. So you have to bread the chicken. Like you dip the chicken in the egg yolk and then you dip that in the whole thing.
Oh, that's
if I had an egg, I'd throw you one. I'd throw it right to you.
Any recipe where I have to dip chicken in something else, like that is something that Ethan deals with. Like it's not for me. I don't want to do it.
My least favorite step in any of these dishes is like where it says pat the protein dry.
Ugh.
Like, why am I taking a paper towel and drying this like pork chop? Like,
I mean, for better here, but it's still I don't want to do it.
I follow the frickin' instructions.
Anyway, LaTonya, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me other than here. Thank you to the people who said hi when you saw me at Bryson Wynn. You can check out my Instagram that has a lot of pictures from there. That is Stormborn1222. My Twitter is at LK Starks. And my is about to get completely ruined because the government sucks. TikTok is LaTonya K. Starks. So you can find me there, where I will be talking about The Sympathizer, coming up with silent podcasts. Me and Naomi are going to be talking about that. And you can also catch me again on the Recap Kickback. We talked about the American Society of Magical Negroes, and there was not a single thing I found funny about that entire film.
Oh, really? I wanted to see it because it looked really interesting. With not a thumbs up?
No.
Oh.
Nope. Yeah, we could talk about it later, but just no. And so I'll be talking about that. I'll be talking about The Sympathizer. I also hope to get a Challengers podcast out there pretty soon as well. And so if you want to see me or hear me do any of that stuff, definitely follow me on Twitter at LK Starks so that you will know when things come out.
Curt, what about you?
You can catch my podcast about storage containers called the Curt Locker. I'm kidding. I'm not doing anything important. Really, the only place that's worth following me is probably Instagram, where I'm at Curt Clark with 2 C's. If you want to go off the beaten path a little bit, you can follow me at Curt Clark on Twitch. I'll try if I get some follows, I'll stream something. I'm at the end of 2/3 of the way through Assassin's Creed Mirage. Maybe I'll stream that. You can follow Curt Clark on Untapped if you want to see what alcohol I am drinking. I think that's really about it. Next week, we have a special guest scheduled to join us. I won't say any names. Cross fingers that just in case falls through. But it's something that listeners of the podcast, some of the listeners of the podcast should be, I'm assuming, very familiar with. And I'll just leave it at that. It would be a first-time guest for us as well. So, yeah. Haley, how about you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at eatstrong_. If you want to see all of my Costa Rica trip photos, that's where you'll find them.
And you do.
Including my food photos, and also a really cute photo of a sloth, which I was very excited about. And then you can also follow my Bookstagram account at The Strong Library. I had a Top Chef listener reach out to me to say they were so excited that I had a book account. So if you want to check out what I'm reading, you can do so there. I read lots of books where people kiss each other. So, yeah, that's it. We've had a great time. This was fun. You guys might not have liked this episode of the episode, but I think you liked this episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And if you listeners like this episode of the podcast, rate us 5 stars. If you didn't like this episode of the podcast, just leave us in peace. Honestly.
Also, rate us 5 stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just at all points, be rating us 5 stars.
Yeah, I feel like if you didn't like us, you would have checked out. I'd say probably an hour ago, but that's fine. With all the love in my heart, pack your knives and go. Bye.